Our country, Malaysia, is blessed with a multiracial society. The ethnic groups of Malaysia consist mainly of the Malay community, the Chinese community, and the Indian community. Malaysia also has other ethnic groups like the Eurasians and natives of West Malaysia and East Malaysia. Because of the multiracial characteristics of the population, it also has various of culture, religion, social norms, and values. Cultural diversity is important. Its existence lets people recognize that there is a large amount of culture that exists, respect the other's differences, and acknowledge that all cultural expressions are valid. In order to promote and preserve cultural diversity, appreciating cultures of different ethnic is essential. Malays in Malaysia form a great majority of the population and have their own custom and tradition. Now, I will be explaining some interesting Malay customs and tradition. Baju Melayu, a loose, long-sleeve shirt with a pair of trousers accompanied with a sampin, is known as the Malay formal dress for men. A velvet cap, called songkok, is also worn along with the formal dress in leather shoes. As for Malay women, they will wear baju kurung, which is a loose tunic worn over a long skirt, which is usually made of batik and sungkit material. A shawl known as selendang will also usually be used to cover the head. On the other hand, another interesting custom that we could notice is when a guest visits a home, the host will greet them with the Arabic phrase Assalamualaikum, which means peace be upon you. Furthermore, it is noted that during their festive celebration of Hari Raya, the Muslims will undertake a month-long fasting known as Ramadan. The fasting will begin with the sighting of the new moon and ends on the last night of the same moon and during the Ramadan, where Muslims will fast from the sunrise till sunset. In addition, under the Islamic practice, it is strictly bound by the custom that Malay men would need to attend a Friday prayer at a nearby mosque around noon once a week.
For Chinese New Year is the major festival. This festival signifies the beginning of a new year and it begins on the first day of the lunar calendar year and ends on the 15th day, known as Chap Gome. It's commonly known as a time for family reunions, firecrackers, the lion dance, mandarin oranges, and giving or collecting ang pao. Besides being a time for family reunions, Chinese New Year is a time when the entire house is cleaned and renewed, and all arguments are forgotten and peace is restored between family and friends. There are many popular Chinese cuisines, for example, Hainanese, chicken rice, char kway teow, bak kut teh, and many more delicious dishes. Notably, common eating utensils are spoons and forks or chopsticks. As for traditional costumes, mostly the Chinese community doesn't wear them except during festivals. Traditional costume for Chinese men is called a tang suit. It's a type of jacket that has a collar and a knot at the belly and is mostly floral. The name was suggested because the Tang Empire was so powerful that the foreigners called Chinese Tang people. Chinese women in Malaysia wear cheongsam during festivals and formal events. It's a silk one-piece dress with a collar and crepes at the waist, either in the center or on the side.
Indians are the third largest ethnic group in Malaysia, constituting approximately 7% of the total Malaysian population. Besides Malay and English, Indians in Malaysia speak Tamil or other ethnic Indian languages. The religion professed by Malaysian Indians are Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, or Sikhism. There are multiple festivals celebrated by the Indians in Malaysia. One of the largest Hindu festivals is Thaipusam. The exact date of this important Hindu event is based on the full moon day in the month of Thai, January or February in the Hindu calendar. Thaipusam is a celebration dedicated to the Hindu deity Lord Murugan. The celebrations take place on a grand scale at the Batu Caves just outside of Kuala Lumpur. The other famous Indian festival is Deepavali, also known as Diwali. Prominently known as the Festival of Lights, Diwali is all about the triumph of good over evil and light over darkness. As for Indian food in Malaysia, much of Malaysian Indian cuisine is predominantly South Indian inspired. Famous dishes include banana leaf rice, biryani, chapati, murtabak putu, roti canai, putu mayam, tandoori, ladu, gulab jamun, etc. Traditional Indian costumes include saris, which are worn by women. It consists of one fabric which is wrapped around the waist, while the other end is draped over the shoulder, exposing the midriff. Some women also wear salwar kurta, which is a tunic worn with loose bottoms and a long scarf called dupatta. Traditional clothing for Indian men is the dhoti, which is a long unstitched garment, tied at the waist and ankles of the wearer. Indian men also wear kurta, which is typically a knee-length shirt.
Malaysia is a typical multiracial and multi-religious country. It is a prime example of a multiracial society. One of the outstanding characteristics of its multi-ethnic population today is its highly variegated ethnic mix. However, due to these different cultures that we have, such as festivals and traditions, people with different cultural identities fail to understand each other at times. These misunderstandings can lead to different issues and problems, which concerns the unity of Malaysia between the races and religions. The most well-known challenges include prejudice and stereotyping between the citizens in Malaysia. These problems include intolerance and mistreatment of a person because of their race, religion, or political belief. In fact, every Malaysian, regardless of race, knows what a particular race is generally labeled as, although we take careful measures not to say it out aloud due to the respect that we have for each other. Although it could be argued that stereotyping is a sort of human nature, it is obviously more commonly found in multi-ethnic societies. The important thing that should be done now is to break these stereotypes. As Yayasan Satu Malaysia Board of Trustees Chairman Dr. Chandra Muzaffar said, if you find that an individual is greedy, then that is the individual who is greedy, not the community. You don't have to generalize. And we should correct stereotypes through education, awareness building, and through socio-economic changes.
Stereotyping influences how we think about other people and indirectly affect how we behave towards other peoples. Thus, cultural stereotyping will be a big issue in our country, Malaysia, which is a multi-ethnic country.
There are a lot of bad effects of cultural stereotyping on our country. It causes people to be treated in employment unfairly due to their races. This is because cultural stereotyping limits management's ability to make best use of their employee skills and develop their new skills. Cultural bias always occurs in the workplace. For example, assuming that all Asians are good at mathematics. Manager may guess someone is good in some field due to cultural stereotyping, but not because he or she is really good in that field, and it will cause the people to lose his or her opportunity to develop the other skill.
Cultural stereotyping also destroys the harmony of our society. For example, high school stereotypes lead to bullying. Students may stereotype students of other races as weak or weird due to their cultural or physical appearance. Aggressive students will even base their dislike of other students on these stereotypes and may discriminate against others accordingly. Bullying can lead to feelings of intense stress and anxiety. Those students who were bullied by other races may also have cultural stereotyping on the races that bully them as rude and unfriendly, and it indirectly affects the relationship between different races.
Greeting Professor Ari, I'm Gan Hong Yin from Taylor's University. Thank you for taking the time of your day and giving me the opportunity to clarify some issue about cultural diversity in Malaysia. One of the biggest issues in a multiracial country such as Malaysia is cultural stereotyping. Professor, in your opinion, how do we overcome this problem?
Well, the first most basic step is to educate yourself about the different cultures present in Malaysia. It's important for people, you especially as a student, to celebrate and respect your own diverse backgrounds as well as each other's. Students should be encouraged to research and learn about their own ethnic and cultural backgrounds. This allows them to have a better understanding of their own culture as well as the differences and nuances with their peers. Also, you must remember to take the time to highlight what is offensive and the distinction between cultural celebration and appropriation.
Oh, I see. With the knowledge about the diverse cultures my friends have, I can also understand different cultures' boundaries. I must always be considerate and sensitive to the boundaries and expectations of others. Even commonplace interactions could have subtle cultural differences to take into account. For instance, understanding how different cultures perceive a handshake, maintaining eye contact, or the boundaries of personal space can help to avoid misunderstandings.
Yes, you are correct. Ever heard of the phrase, treat others how you want to be treated? When in doubt, you must ask. If you accidentally cause offense, you should apologize to those people you offended. Both scenarios are valuable opportunities to improve your own cultural awareness, and your friends from other races will appreciate your sensitivity and effort. Being respectful of personal and cultural boundaries can encourage your friends to do the same through your example.
In Malaysia, we usually celebrate all the different holidays for different cultures, such as Chinese New Year, Hari Raya, and Deepawali. But even still, due to these different festivals and traditions that we have, people with different cultural identities fail to understand each other at times. Problem like this, how do you suggest solving this problem?
Well, celebrating different festivals and traditions is not enough. Students should know that different people celebrate different holidays in their own unique ways. One should bear in mind that sensitivity to your friends' regular cultural or religious practices is also important. For example, avoid scheduling lunches during a time of fasting or holding meetings during a time of prayer. That would certainly help in overcoming the problems in cultural diversity. With Malaysia's unique and diverse cultures, we must always educate ourselves in these topics to maintain harmony and integrity of our society.
Got it. Thank you, Professor Ari. It is so interesting to discuss with you about the issue of cultural diversity. Now, I have a better understanding of it. Hope I can have the opportunity to talk with you again in the future.
You're welcome. I'm glad to know that you have a deeper understanding of cultural diversity. See you next time. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Through the discussion, we could clearly see the interesting diversity of Malaysia's multi-ethnic culture. Therefore, it is very important to spread awareness to the society to appreciate the beauty of the diversity in Malaysia. Thank you.